Welcome back here to the GioMoShow. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to support the show as we get into the fall 2024 season for the Golden Grizzlies. Remember, we got men's and women's soccer and volleyball coming up, and we'll be covering all of it here on the GioMoShow and on WXOU Sports. So, we just got done talking about baseball and softball, both of their season recaps of the 2024 spring season, both unfortunately ending in double eliminations in the Horizon League tournament. But now we turn to the global stage. We go away from Oakland, from the Horizon League, from college sports, into the world. We're going to talk more about the Olympics here. Some of the highlights that I wanted to mention, obviously I'm tuned into the swim and the swimming portion of the Olympics. And if you want to hear more about that, last week I did an interview with Ian Allen of the Golden Grizzlies swim and dive team, and his views and his experience as it relates to his swimming career and what the USA team is looking to do against the Australian team for this season. You can go and find that. We'll have that linked in the description here. Go watch my interview with Ian Allen. He is such an amazing resource and such an amazing voice to hear, not only about swimming as a sport, but about the mentality and the mental side of swimming and athletics as a whole. So I greatly recommend that you go and watch that. But the story now has wrapped up for the swimming part of the Paris 2024 Olympics, as the Team USA was barely able, in a narrow margin, able to defeat the Australians in gold medals in the pool, thanks in large part to the women's team. As we would end up with a final count, 8 gold medals in the pool for the USA and only 7 for the Australians. And it came down to the final day of swim in Paris. It got tied up with men's 1,500-meter freestyler Bobby Fink. A world record and a gold medal would tie it up at 7-7 for gold medals with the USA and Australia, and it would come down to the women's 4x100 medley relay. A relay that was so stacked that had medalists in every stroke discipline. They were able to get the job done, get the gold medal for the USA, and defeat the Australians in that count in, like I mentioned, such a stacked relay. And what I thought was funny is that they had Gretchen Walsh do the butterfly and Tori Husk do the freestyle. But what was strange is that Tori Husk was the one that won the gold medal in the 100 fly, which is what she would have been doing in the relay, and Gretchen Walsh was second. Gretchen Walsh was also the record holder coming into the Olympics, and both of them, fantastic in both stroke disciplines. So it was just kind of funny to see how they picked who to do what, but it didn't matter as the USA got a clear victory, as Tori Husk was able to finish out in the freestyle portion and get the win for Team USA. And that thus wraps up the swimming part of the Olympics, as we're now more into the track and field part of it in terms of, the bigger multi-event sports. As, the U.S. continuing to get their gold medals in track and field. Shot put, we got 1 and 2 in, and I believe it was a 4-year streak of a shot put gold medal. Just I love seeing all of these historical things that they post on social media. The Olympics account or Team USA account. It's just so much history that you would never know about the dominance of Team USA in a lot of these events. And shot put, I know, was one of them. But the big one and the big headline, this is the one I'm going to pour a lot more of the sauce on. We're going to spend a lot more time on this one, is Noah Lyles. Everyone's talking about him, of course. The gold medal goes to Team USA in the 100-meter dash for the first time in 20 years by a razor thin margin of 5 thousandths of a second. That was the margin that Noah Lyles won the 100-meter dash in by getting the lean, by leaning in and getting the torso and the shoulders cross the finish line before anybody else. After trailing at 40 meters, about halfway through the race, he's last place. But you see this on a lot of his events. If you watch kind of the replays of the stuff he did at World Championships and stuff, he always has a fantastic finish. He's lagging behind in like the first half of the race, but he always finishes strong, and he does so on the biggest stage. So there's a lot of angles that you can take with this, obviously. Noah Lyles is a very attention-grabbing athlete and figure in the world of sports, not only track and field, but in general, but in totality. And everyone, they go back to the comments that he made about the NBA Finals, and why do they call themselves world champs, and and beyond that, all the talk that he does about himself, all the chest pumping and all the hyping himself up. And, he grabs your attention. And, all the ads that he does, all the commercials that would go through the Olympics, and you're nervous that all that talk would come pouring back on him if he didn't win gold in the 100-meter dash. And the 200-meter dash would be included, although that hasn't happened quite yet as of this episode of the GioMoShow. But you're like, the whole time you are so scared that he's can't quite do it, and everyone's going to kill him over it because of how much he talked and how much he talked about it. But he ended up doing it anyway. But even then, people are still like upset with him and don't like him very much. But let me tell you something about athletes and about mentality and about kind of anything that you do and have a passion for. It's not just, the athletes don't just talk and don't just hype themselves up because they're cocky, because they want attention, because they want the camera on them. That's not why a lot of these athletes do this. And it's more than that, because a lot of times, and I have done some of this stuff myself as a broadcaster, you got to talk yourself up to be able to then chase yourself and chase the words that you say to try and continue and further motivate yourself. If you're going to talk all this smack, then you're going to work extra hard to be able to back it up. If you're going to grab all this attention, you got to deliver. And athletes will do that to put the extra pressure on themselves to be able to get themselves to chase it further. And I believe that's what Noah Lyles does, along with it just being part of his personality. That's what athletes will do. They'll set a bar for themselves for not only them to live up to, but for you to make them live up to. You as the audience, you as the sports world, you as everyone watching. He's making sure that he can live up to it. And I that's what people do. And naturally, that comes with the consequences. If you don't do it, you're going to get trashed. So I love what Noah Lyles does for that, partly for that reason. And another reason I love the dude is because it's, being yourself is hard. We're getting into deeper waters here outside of sports, but being yourself is very hard. It's a very difficult thing to do because not only like being unique is an amazing thing. But the thing is about being unique is that it's just you. Not a lot of people are going to be unique with you. So for Noah Lyles, an athlete on the biggest stage in the world of his sport and of all sport, to be able to continue to show his personality, to show the Yu-Gi-Oh card, the Blue Eyes White Dragon that he's got on, under his uniform, and to having the tongue out and running and showboating, and to be able to do all this stuff with so much pressure on you is remarkable. It's something that takes such courage to be able to do, and beyond that, it's something that's good for the sport. I always think about this when it comes to Olympic sports and athletes that try to be a personality and wave the flag for their sport, and sometimes they're going to have to do stuff to kind of grab your attention for it. Noah Lyles does that for track and field. He does that for sprinting, as being like the fastest man in the world. It is true. It's also a great tagline to get your attention for it. And Usain Bolt, the guy that Noah Lyles is trying to chase throughout all of his sprinting career, told Noah Lyles, saying, keep being who you are, man. The sport needs your personality. And that's the thing, is, with him being himself and being that showboat, he's also the biggest representative for track and field, at least in the United States. And a lot of these sports need that. A lot of these sports need, because they only appear once every 4 years for most of the people watching, even though their sport continues within those 4 years with world championships and NCAAs and all that kind of stuff. So that's a big responsibility to have as well for Noah Lyles. So I say all of that to wrap it up, to say that I love what he does and what he represents and what he puts himself through, and how he's able to back it up. I'm a huge fan of what he does, and I hope that he's able to get the double gold in the 100 and the 200 that comes up. The 200 is more of his event anyway. But I love the dude and what he represents, man, because that's tough to do. That is very tough to do when you got the world watching you. So I wanted to make sure to throw my flowers to him as well.